Well, there's a great scene in the movie Fury, the World War II tank movie, where the American soldiers are fighting for their lives from the superior German tanks. And at one point, I think it's Shia LaBeouf yells out, "Best job ever!" So today we want to talk about the best year ever. Welcome aboard.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, Happy New Year to what my wife calls all my peeps. She says, "Are you talking to your peeps again?" So I guess if you're listening to this, then I guess you're one of my peeps. And so welcome and Happy New Year 2022. Hard to believe. But I have just had a crazy last couple weeks. We got called away kind of to a family emergency down in Arizona. I'm up here in Canada, but we got called down there. My mother-in-law had to, we had to basically, in 2 weeks, we had to pack up her mobile home. We had to list it. We had to, I can't tell you how many boxes took to Goodwill and to the dump. We had to move her into an old folks home, a senior living, because her dementia. So it has been a crazy 2 weeks. We didn't have really much of a holiday, much of a Christmas season, much to my, but especially my wife's chagrin, who was looking forward to 2 weeks off as a teacher. And actually, we're doing our Christmas this coming Saturday with our kids, first week of January, just because of the crazy way things have gone. But we flew. We avoided all of the traffic cancellations, the airport and airline cancellations. We actually flew through Vegas and stayed a couple nights in Vegas. And I know if what you're thinking, you're going, wow, you're really going to get yourself in trouble being in Vegas. But I had a really good travel plan. And we going in, some of the guys I coached, wanted to see how I was going to navigate the craziness of Vegas. And as it turned out, we were out on the strip for a couple days, and me and my wife had this great little code that whenever Feathers started walking by, that was girls who were not dressed appropriately. She would say Feathers at 3:00, and I would go the other way or look the other way. And we actually had a lot of fun. We by flying through there, we avoided the cancellations in Seattle. We made it down to Arizona and back without really any problem, which was really amazing considering everything that's happening with the Omicron variant. We ended up getting a free PCR test in the Tucson airport as opposed to having to spend a couple $100 each. So we were really blessed in terms of the trip. Coming back, probably the worst thing is coming back. We ended up getting our boosters a couple days ago. And for the couple weeks, a couple days actually since then, I've been totally under the weather. I couldn't sleep at all the first night. Today I'm feeling a little bit better. So it has been a ride. And going into 2022, it's been a pretty crazy last couple weeks. So anyways, it's good to be back. And I want to talk about this phrase, the best year ever, because I want to say, and this is without a word of exaggeration, that last year, 2021, was, in all honesty, probably the best year that I've ever had. And I chalk that up to a number of things. One of them was my recovery. One of them was seeing and experiencing a sense of purpose and encouragement from helping guys in 2021. I went into the year really hoping for a lot of open doors, which I experienced in terms of mentoring guys. But in so many ways, it has been, I think, the best year ever in my life. And that is something I want to talk about today, because I would love to see 2022 to be your best year ever. And one of the things that I have been kind of looking at as I go into each year is I kind of start the year with a theme or a focus. And 2 years ago, my focus was open doors. I wanted to walk through every open door that was put in my path, and basically to see them as opportunities. I didn't want to have to, especially as I was starting to work with guys and mentoring guys and doing podcasts, to be honest, I just didn't want to have to try to make myself useful. I didn't want to, I believe in terms of trying to open doors, but if they were locked, I didn't want to try to kick them in, use C4 on them to blow them down. I just wanted to be, open to any opportunities that got put in front of me. And that just took the pressure off myself, and just saying I want to be faithful to any of those opportunities that are there. So that was 2020. Now, last year, when I started the year, I really had this sense of I wanted to experience being more of a joyful person. So my goal for 2021 was chase the joy. And maybe that's why it was the best year ever, because I really was on the lookout for joy. I was thinking about joy. Whenever I would read something about joy, my ears would peak, up, or I would be more attentive to something around joy. And I really found, like, as I looked at the year, that I was far more open to experiencing joy than maybe I just would not have noticed before. So last year, my goal was to chase the joy, and I think my wife would agree with me that it was one of the best year. I would say the best year ever in terms of experiencing that. And for me, when I say the word joy, I don't mean it's always easy. This last year certainly had lots of challenges for all of us with COVID and everything else. But joy, I think, is something which is irrespective of circumstances. So that was kind of a neat experience of this last year. So the question is, okay, well, 2022, what is your theme? What would you like to look at or lean into or see grow in your life? And I've been trying on a few of them. I think I've kind of settled on one, but one I was trying or thinking about was practicing curiosity. I thought that might be kind of a cool goal for 2022. There's very few guys in my life that I would say are really curious guys. Whenever I meet somebody who is curious, like my buddy Tim, for example, they're always asking questions. They show great humility. They're always a learner. So I really value guys that are curious, because guys who are curious are always growing. And so that was one that I was thinking about how that might be kind of a neat one for 2022. Practice curiosity, and it's something I'm just going to put in my toolkit. But I don't think that's going to be my goal for 2022. So I thought, well, another one that I had was there's this proverb or proverbs that says, "Let love and faithfulness never leave you." Have them as a necklace around your neck. And so I thought, well, maybe, to practice love and faithfulness over this year might be a worthwhile theme. And I've tried, thought about that, and that's a good thing. So I'm have been thinking about that one. But there's another one that for me, with my spiritual background, and that I think I'm going to settle on, and it's all around. It's going to be practicing the nearness of God, and for me, that's obviously within my framework. That's something that is important to me, And I guess I want to cultivate that this year where I'm more open to the nearness of God. So I think I'm going to settle on that one. I read something this morning that said, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. So I thought, okay, that's a good confirmation. So anyways, whether that's your spiritual background or not, I would really encourage you to have a guiding theme or narrative, so to speak, that can help you as you go into the year. And I don't mean by that simply goals. Like I talked to a guy this morning and we were talking about goals, and he had some great goals. I want to have this with my physical health, and I want to experience this in my relationships. And he had a number of really good goals for 2022. And I think those are helpful. Those are real touchstones in terms of maybe some specific things. But I'm looking at something a little higher up, or a little more as a general theme that could guide our year. So yeah, there's a challenge for you to think about what could be a really good theme for my year. Let me say this. One of the things I've noticed with guys in recovery, like myself from porn recovery, there is the early focus that I think most of us very naturally get fixated on. And that is the elimination of porn from our lives. We realize, this is having such a soul-sucking effect on my life. This is something which is dragging me down in every area of my life. It's hurting my relationships. It's destroying my marriage, my peace of mind, my confidence, my creativity, that I want to remove it, eliminate it from my life. And so when most guys go into something like a year and they think about, well, what do I want as a goal for my year? Most of us immediately think, well, I want to be free, be rid of porn. I want to walk away from porn and its effects on my life. And I think that is such a common phrase that I hear from guys when, guys that I coach, guys in my groups, when we're talking about what they want to see for the coming year. And I think, good on you. Obviously, that would be a starting point. But I want to make a distinction here between the means and the end. Is the end of what we want to see simply the elimination of porn from our life? Or is that the means towards a greater end? I think we get the two confused. We think that the goal of our life, the goal of our year, is to no longer be involved in regular looking at porn. Well, I don't think that's really ultimately a great goal. That is only a means towards what I think needs to be a much larger goal. And that is towards, well, what kind of life do you want? Sure, this is ruining, impairing, destroying your life. But if you simply eliminate from this from your life, then what is that going to enable you to accomplish, to set out on, to achieve in your life? And so, for me, I simply say the elimination of porn is only the means towards the end. What is the end? What do you want to see in 2022? And so, it is really a part of, I think, a healthy distinction that we need to make. In the opening byline, in terms of the podcast, we say we want to move away from porn. Yes, but more importantly, we want to move towards the life and relationships we've always dreamed for, we've always hoped for, to have the best year ever. And one of the phrases, and I don't know where I heard it from, I'm listening all the time, learning and growing, and one of the examples I gave or that I heard was the idea of an hourglass. An hourglass with the sand, you've all seen them, the old ways to tell time, like there's an egg timer that 2 or 3 minutes, with sand that runs through and eventually goes through this small narrow opening. Well, let's take that picture for a second, the sand hourglass, and I want to describe a bit of the experience of what porn does. Most of us who've been involved in porn in a consistent, habitual practice way would describe it as having the effect of narrowing the focus, narrowing the perspective of our lives. It's like our life, which used to be wide open, becomes narrower and narrower until after a while this habit, this obsessive, preoccupying habit narrows our focus of our lives. We begin to isolate. We begin to eliminate friends. We begin to eliminate social situations that we're in. And over time, we find the isolating effects of porn reduce us more and more and more to somebody who is just a shell of the person we want to be. So if you take the hourglass, we go this wide area, and now we've moved ourselves into a narrow sphere of activity. Our thoughts are mostly preoccupied on the last porn episodes we've had and the next porn episodes that we want to have. The goal of our lives is to go through that opening. And I would say what I've experienced, and many guys who've journeyed through recovery say this: when you start in recovery, at times it can feel like there's a lot of restrictions. Restrictions on your open devices, restrictions on your entertainment, restrictions on the things you used to do that got you in trouble. But here's the goal. The goal is that you would begin to now experience, as you walk through recovery, you would begin to experience a gradual opening, a widening, an enlarging of those things which you've lost, or which you never have really captured in the first place. And one of the exciting things that I've experienced in terms of the best year ever is when porn is no longer the preoccupying focus of your life, all of a sudden you begin to experience a reemergence or a first-time emergence of some things in your life. It could be a growing confidence, where everything before you felt like, well, I'm just not worthy of maybe trying to move into a relationship. Many of my single guys talk about, because they're in porn, they just don't feel they're worthy of meeting a great girl because they're such a horrible guy. Or confidence in your friendships because you're afraid of people finding out who you really are. So there can be a growth of confidence. Or another thing I've heard from guys is all of a sudden some creativity begins to blossom again. You know, maybe some of the things they put aside, whether it's art or music or pursuits or fishing or hiking or camping or those things that used to give them life got lost. And now all of a sudden their creativity begins to emerge again. Here's the point. The point is we move away from porn. Towards what end? Towards re-engaging with life in all of its fullness. So that really is when I look and think about the best year ever. Yes, there is some difficult restrictions. There's some difficult opening steps you're going to have to take in the early days of recovery to get this thing in a place where it's no longer controlling you. And that's what the groups are about. I encourage you to email me at bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. And we can talk about how to get you in a group. There's guys that I mentor with personally as well. You're going to need help to get through that narrow area when you're trying to walk through this incredible habit that has taken such power over your life. But here's the goal. The goal is the best year ever. The goal is for you to emerge on the other side. And so many guys that I work with and guys in the groups, I see this. I see life opening up. I see all of these vistas opening up in their lives. New relationships, new confidence, new creativity, new sense of purpose, And they go, yeah, this is now the person that I want to be. I can now look in the mirror and feel good about what I see. So here's to 2022. I hope and pray that this is your best year ever. We'll see you later.